Hi, I'm Susie, and today I want to show you how to fine-tune the nail shape. If you don't get this right, it can make or break the look of the fill. Let's get started. So a lot of clients, when they come into the salon, and you probably do this too, you want to change the shape up, or you want to shorten what you already have, because they've grown out, right? So you want to get that length that you started off with back. So to show you, I've gone to the studio and I've lengthened a few here to show you what we could do. Very popular right now is the coffin, let's say. So with this coffin shape, a lot of clients will come in, that's pretty long, right? And if it started back here, now it's grown out to here, they'll often come in and say they want this shortened. So when you first look at it, you're like, oh, I guess one way to shorten it would be to just sort of get the sides down and then shorten it. But I find the best way to shorten it is to establish the length first. So literally file off the tip part of what you want. By establishing the length first, then you can taper in your sides. So let's say this one, they want it to come down as much as it's grown. And usually people are coming in between a 3 to 5 week growth, depending on how picky they are, how fast it grows. So she wants to shorten it approximately, let's say, a 4-week average growth. And if you're the client, that's what you want. You want to shorten it that much. So I'm going to take this down as much as it's grown, let's say. Now, if you're hand filing, it would have just looked like this. When you take that down, that's taking it down considerably, it's not quite as coffin anymore. So I find the best way with a coffin, I mean, it still looks nice. It's still a tapered look, but it's not quite a strong coffin. Some people like their coffin to be quite tapered, so they want you want this area to be a bit smaller. Right now, it's a bit wider. The idea is to make this edge here the shape and the length that you want to be, and then you can taper into that free edge, if that makes any sense. So there's 2 ways to do that. You can do it with a drill, but establish your length first. I find that much easier. Then you can work in toward that. So by taking your drill, you can take off the point and establish how small that's going to be. And taking off this side. But don't go down straight on the side. Just take off that point. Establish the width of what you want that edge to be. So once you've established that, then you got to take the sides in. Now with the coffin, they're quite interesting. You don't want to file the sides straight. You don't want to file it straight like this. And if you bend in the file, you don't want to take the sides of it here and keep filing. You want to do an extreme. So take your coffin from this side into this point. Draw a line like this. Draw that line in your mind on both sides. Don't soften this edge here. Make it a harsh line. So this is kind of awkward when I'm trying to show you, because usually I'm filing like this on my own for accuracy. And there's always that underside that you want to file too. Make sure you get the underside, because if it droops under, it really ruins a coffin. Now the thing is, whenever you're reshaping, if you built the nail structure properly, it starts thinner here, gradually builds up in the center, and then it comes down. When you shorten it, it'll get thicker and thicker and thicker as you shorten. So you have to take the whole thing down as well. So not only did I file and shape the shape of the coffin, I also have to file the thickness down, because then it just becomes a thicker nail, right? Nobody wants that. So what I will do, if you can look down the barrel, okay, see that thickness in here, I need to take that down. You don't want that to be thick like that. It's the right shape, but you want it to come down more. So in order to get that, you can do it with the drill. Take the drill and you can file it down this way. You don't want that to be thick. Nobody wants a thick nail. Or you can You get the same effect with a hand file. You just have to angle it. You want to angle your file on this side. So we're not going like this. We're tilting the file this way and going like that. That's what's going to thin it. But you don't want to thin across your stress point. You're just thinning the free edge. The angle of the file makes all the difference when you're shaping. Okay, then you want to check it this way. Beauty. Okay, that's a shortened coffin. Now we're going to move on to the almond. Often my clients are switching over to the almond, which is awesome. They're a beautiful shape. And then when they come in again, they are much longer, of course, and they want it shortened. Well, before I used to kind of was doing the sides and stuff, and if you go one too far on one side than the other, it really gets wonky. So again, I find that the same rule is true. File the length to where you want it to end first. So file up to that. So just take off the tip. Once you establish how long you want it to be, then you can file the sides to taper into that. So in this case, I think I'm going to just put this little dot on here to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm just going to show you. This is just, it's not a design. Okay. See that dot? That's what I want to file to, okay? So right from this side here, right from the side of the cuticle to the dot, I'm going to round it. So it's not an angle straight. That would be more of a pointy nail. This I want to keep the almond shape, so I'm just going to round it. And you can see, if you look at that, see how I've perfectly rounded the one side, and the one side's still square. So now I'm going to round out the other side to match it. You can do this one with the drill too, but I do find it more accurate with the hand file. And then you just decide how pointy you're going to go. So if you look down the barrel of that, you can see how much thinner I've made that, down to that like dolphin nose. Okay, now a lot of clients, a square. Square is one that you really got to work at. And believe it or not, it sounds so simple. Some people like a real super strong square. And to get that, there's a specific trick to that. So when you're doing a super square nail, the trick is to make the file completely flat against the tip of the nail. So like this, completely square. If you bend it in, it's going to be dented in. If you're going to go down like this, it's going to soften the corners too much. So it must be completely parallel to get a very, very square nail. Some of my clients really like to even have the corners, they'll say sharp square. Now they will round out in their daily routine and they come back and sometimes the corners are quite a bit softer. But you do want to make sure that you're filing completely square to it. Making sure you're completely flat. Do not bend it this way, don't bend it this way, and don't flow it this way when you go back and forth. It must remain completely flat, completely square. And that way you will get a completely square nail. Look how square that is. That's square, man. Oh, I do have to say one thing. When you are doing a nail and you're trying to do a completely square, I only have one hand here. So what I usually do is brace it with this thumb. I'll brace it and then I will go like that to make it completely square. But when you are working with a client, you need to hold it this way as you're filing this edge, like holding it with the one hand and filing it this way, because if the finger rocks at all, you can turn those corners into much softer, which is why this one works. So sometimes a client likes them so that the corners are round. They call that scround, with a flat surface with the round corners. That's quite easy to get actually. So I'm going to do that with the pinky. And it's square now. And we're going to make the corners quite scround. So how you do that, the best way is, here's how you make it square. But if you angle the file so that the corners are the only ones hitting the file, again, you'll need to hold this steady. Let's pretend I'm doing that. If you hold the file underneath a little bit on an angle, see that's the angle, not straight like this, but angled like that. So this camera will show you, not straight like this, but angled like this. That's how you can get a nice scrounged look. See, that's quite a nice little round look. Now, some clients might even want a little bit more. You can always go more. You don't want to add. Sometimes I will file and then I'll just have them check it and see if they like that, and I can always go a little bit more rounder. So sometimes they'll say, yeah, take a few more off the corner. And I might just go rounder and rounder. Sometimes they think they want scround, and then when they see it, they don't like it. And then when I keep rounding it, oh yeah, I like it round. Or they'll say, oh, I want it round, and then when you do it, they don't like it. Nails shapes look so different on everybody else. So if you see something on somebody else, you might like it, but then you might see it on yourself and you don't like it that much. So this is scround, very square, almond, and coffin. Those are probably the 4 most popular ones. I'd show you a stiletto, but they're not very popular. They're just really fun to do. Okay, so let me just finish these up and smooth them over so they look a little bit nicer for a reveal shot. So don't be afraid to try a different shape. You never know what might look good on you. See you in the next video.